Happy morning, friends. Here's yours, Dr. Rajanta. Welcome to day 39th session, and we are just going to have added up of 40th too. And today we are just going to discuss about Python modules. See, actually, not only modules, we are just going to discuss about different techniques to import and use custom and built-in modules in Python. Okay, now what are modules in Python? Module containing a set of codes or a set of functions which can be included to an application. So modules refer to the Python file which containing Python code like Python statements or classes or functions, variables, etc. So a a file with Python code is defined with the extension of .py. And for an example, in main.py, where the main is the module name. Okay, in Python, large code is divided into small modules where the benefit of module is it provides a way to share a reusable function. Exactly. See, kindly have a look of this advantage. One is the reusability module that can be used in some other Python code. So hence it provides the facility of code reusability. And next one is the categorization. Similar type of attributes can be placed in one module. Let me just see how to create a module in Python. Dear friends, kindly have a look of this and observe it clearly. A file containing Python code. For an example, we are just going to have example.py, which is called a module, and its module name would be example. And we use modules to break down large program into small manageable and organized files. So furthermore, modules provide a reusability of code. We can define our most used function in a module and import it instead of copying their definition into different programs. So the module containing, as I have already said, which we are just going to have as like a Python code like classes or functions or methods, but it also has variables. And the variable can list or tuple, dictionary, etc. Okay, let's just kindly have a look of this. We are going to create a module where this one is to add two numbers, and it is just going to return the summation of that two numbers. Okay, and here we have defined a function add inside the module example.py, and the function takes into two numbers where it just returns the summation. And kindly have a look of it. I just create this function. Here it is our example. Okay, so this is what the example py, and we are just creating it and making it as a separate function. And how to import this module into that Python? Just see here, dear friends, when on just importing, you have to use this. So we can import the definition inside a module to another module or the interactive interpreter in Python. So we use the import keyword to do this. To import our previous defined module exam, we type the following prompt. This is import an example. So this does not import the name of the function defined in example. That is, name of the function is add. Okay, here we are not using that. Actually, it is defined in example directly in the current symbol table. So it only imports the module name example there. So using the module name, we can access the function as using the dot operator. For an example, just a second, dear friends, I just clear my kernel. Yeah, here it is. Let me just move on to the examples. So how this happens is once on importing the example, okay, so here we can just make use of this dot operator and then making use of that function name add. And if we are just providing the value for that attributes A and B, and it just returns as the value of that function. See here, dear friends. So this is the exact function but we are not directly calling the function, we are just importing the module. So Python has tons of standard modules. You can check so many things there in standard modules and their use cases. So here these files are in the library directory inside the location where you installed in Python. So standard modules that can be imported the same way as we import our user defined modules. So there are various ways to import module. Let me just see one by one with an example. So here it is the example 2. Okay, the Python code for a module name that is named normally resides in the file is main.py. But first create a function in test.py. So here it is a simple module. Okay, so in test.py I have just created this, and for your reference I just close this and I just open the test.py. And see here, dear friends, so this is a simple code. Okay, and I have just saved it as a test.py. Okay, now you can make use of this main.py and you can import the test and make use of the function directly from the module, not to that of direct function. Okay, from the main py you have to make use of that test py. You have to import here and then only you have to run it. And you can also not only making this as a Python file, you can also make it in the Jupyter notebook too. Okay, and see here, dear friends, so to the same thing, here you can just make this in a main.jupyter notebook. I'm having this, and before making, I'm just making, you can make use of the Python file test.py, or even though you can make use of test1.jupyter notebook. The same thing, you can just make use of it. Okay, let what I just do, make this test py. Okay, this is the Python file, and I'm just going to import it in main.jupyter notebook. See, kindly just have a note of this, dear friends. So here I'm just going to make use of this. Okay, so here whenever I just want to make use of this importing through the Jupyter notebook, here I have to include this library, that is import underscore IPYNB. So if you have not installed, or if you are not having anything, or if you just have any error onto that, kindly make use of this code, that is pip install import underscore IPYNB, and then make use of it. Okay, so let I just directly go for the exact. So here it is test.py, and if I just make use of here, it is test1. Okay, so let I have this test1, and see here this test1, it is that is a Jupyter notebook. The same code only. I just switch over to both the files, so don't get confusion. So this is the Python file, okay, which having an extension of .py, and this one, it is a Jupyter notebook where it is an extent with that is IPYNB. Okay, so now what I'm just going to do in my main Jupyter notebook, I just going to import a test1, and it is a Jupyter notebook. So to make use of a Jupyter notebook, I want to import my Jupyter conversions of this notebook process. So for that I am using this library. Okay, let I just execute it, dear friends. Kindly have a note of it. Importing Jupyter notebook from test1.py. This was the exact line, and see here something here insert function. So that comes from the function. Okay, so this is how you can just make use of it. Okay, now I just go for the main function. And see here, this is the exact functionality where you can make use of Jupyter notebook towards another Jupyter notebook. Okay, and fine. Let me just go on to the example 3. Here what I'm just doing is I am just creating a Fibonacci model. where I'm making use of this Fibonacci function, and from where I'm just calling is from main function. Okay, here also I have just given you two options. One is you can just directly make use of that is fibo.py, and you can call it by main.py, or you can just create a Jupyter notebook with the name of fibo1.py, and you can just directly call from main.ipby. So here, see here, dear friends, what I'm just going to make use is both the thing I just show you. Okay, so this is what Fibonacci, which I just made use of the Python file, and here it is a Jupyter notebook. Here it is the Jupyter notebook. Okay, so both the things are the same. Both the things are same. What is the thing? Whenever you are just making, you can just make use of any of the file, and you can call it from the main. And see, this is the main file. I'm in main Jupyter notebook, and here to make use of that, I have to use my Fibonacci. Okay, so before that I just, yeah, so here it is the Fibonacci. So before using that Fibonacci, it has to be created. So that Fibonacci, here what I'm just making, I'm importing Python file. Okay, first I'm just making use of Python file. I'm from that Python file, I'm importing the function FIB and making use of a valuation as fib of 100. Let I execute it, and see, this is the exact issue output. And one more thing, you can just import it directly from the Jupyter notebook, where if you are using the other Jupyter notebook, you have to use this library and then you have to import it. And see here, dear friends, we are having the Fibo1 as an importing model directly from the Jupyter notebook. Here I just execute it. Okay, so this is importing Jupyter notebook from this, and where I am just getting the answer. Okay, so this is how you can make use of it. Fine, let me just move on to the next example, example number 4. And see here, dear friends, here what is the thing is, we just want to equalize the two number, or we have to check whether the both the values are equal or not. Okay, and in the sense what we have to just do is providing two values A and B, and then that is from the main, and we have to evaluate it. And see here, we can just make use of a Python file, or sorry, I just scroll above. Yeah, we can make use of a Python file, or you can make use of a Jupyter notebook to import it. Let I create a Python file here. Kindly have a look of it. Yeah, see here, this is the exact file, and the function is equal. Okay, and how I'm just going to import is directly here. It is what, so here I'm just going to make use of equal.py. Okay, and let I just make use this to execute. So here I'm just going to give the value a comma b in a single line, multivariable, multi-values I'm just providing, and with that I want to know what is the evaluation. See here, it is true, exactly. And you can also make use of the same thing by importing the Jupyter notebook. Okay, so where here, see here, dear friends, this is equal from the Python file and equal one from the Jupyter notebook. Okay, and see here, dear friends, in Python, each and every built-in modules has a large number of predefined function to perform simple or specific tasks. For instance, Python has a built-in module named operator, inside which the function called EQ is defined. So this function returns the boolean value of true if the given input is values are equal, else it is just going to give you the false as a return. So now we can make use of this operator, okay, operator module in our main program to check if two numbers are equal. So this means we would no longer need this equal dot py. As here, see here, dear friends, this one, the cell number 9, we are just used equal.py for imported from the Python file, and cell number 10 we have imported from a Jupyter notebook. And see here, in the current cell we are just going to import it directly from the operator, and where we are using the asterisk symbol. Okay, and see here, dear friends, if both are equal, we are just going to return it true. Let I just go for this, directly switching to this function. Yeah, see here, this is what the exact example which we receives the equal, both the values are equal, so we are just getting the resultant as true. Okay, next let me just see about the Python import statement. We can import a module using the import statement and access the definition inside it using the dot operator, as I have already described above. So let me just see some of the user defined function or built-in functions with some modules. And kindly have a look of it, dear friends. See here, the first example which is just going to see is a mathematical module. Okay, so this mathematical model, so we are just going to import it, and what we need is math.py. Okay, so here by using the dot operator, we need the pi value from the math library, that is importing from the math. Okay, next, as I have already said, we have in the cell number of 2 of this Jupyter notebook, we have just to see operator is also an module which we just directly import it, and we have a function eq. As to the same, in math, we are also having this square root where it just returns the square root of the given input value. So here we are just getting the value of the square root function from the math module. Okay, let me just see the next one, importing multiple modules. If we want to use more than one module, then we can import multiple modules. So this is the simple form of import, a keyword that we already used in the above example. See here, kindly dear friends, just have a look of this. We are just going to import two modules, that is, one is max and next one is random. And from max we are just going to import the function factorial. So here we are using the dot operator, and from random module we are just going to use rand int, that is the integer value. Okay, so let me just make use of the both and giving the executing the eval function value. Okay, next let me just move on to the Python from import statement. See here, dear friends, to import particular classes of functions, we can use the from import statement. It is an alternate way to import. By using this form, we can import individual attributes and methods directly into the program. So we can import specific names from a module without importing the module as a whole. So see here, dear friends, what we need is only the factorial function. So from the max, we are not just going to import the whole the module. So here we are just going to make use of only the factorial function. Okay, so with the factorial function, let me execute. What is the factorial of 6? And see here, it is the exact output. And to the same, we can also make use of the pi value or exponential value, or how you can just make use of this in the mean of math module, and here it is the output. And see here, dear friends, you can also make use, see how we imported only the pi attribute from the max module. In such cases, we don't use the dot operator. So we can also import multiple attributes in the same thing by making use of this. Okay, so as we can make use of pi value, as see here we know what is the pi value. So with this directly we can use it without the dot operator. Okay, so next let me just make use of importing with renaming. We can import a module by renaming it as follows. We don't want to make use of the math model, or if you want to rename it, yeah, you can make use of it by the keyword as. So import math as M. So we have renamed the module math module as M. So this can save us typing time in some cases. That's it. So nothing much more using or users or any purpose here. We just only the time saving of this typing sense. That's it. Okay. So here we have just made use of the math and as an M keyword. Okay. And let me just make use of it. And see here, dear friends, a small note here. So when we just math is not recognized in our scope. So that the name, when we just make use of this math as M. So once if we renamed, we have to use that M as our module. Okay, here math.py is invalid and m.py is the correct implementation. So once if you rename it, so you have to just have a look whether how you have renamed it. The same name you have to make use of it in further function or evaluation. Okay, next coming the module where we have renamed, that is a random random module. We have renamed as rand, and yeah, we are just going to make use of the function rand range, where from 10 to 20 with the increment of 2. Okay, and we can also make import a method by renaming it, and from keyword where from random we want to import randint as random number. We are just importing the function randint and we are naming it as a random number. Not only the module, we can also make the function also, we can rename it, and here it is the executed output. Okay, next comes the import all names. Kindly have a note of it, dear friends. We can import all functions and attributes of a specific module. Then instead of writing all function names and attributes name, we can import all by using an asterisk symbol. Okay, so here it is what, so see here from max we need all the specific all the functions from the math module, whereas we can just make use of not only particular pi or not only particular square root or to be mathematical function. Here we need all functions to be imported, so we can just provide the asterisk and from that we can extract the pi value. Okay, so we have imported all the definition from the math module. So this includes all names visible in our scope except those beginning with an underscore. Kindly just have a note of it. And importing everything with the asterisk symbol is not a good programming practice. This can lead to duplicate definition of an identifier. So it also hampers the readability of our code. So wherever it is needed, kindly make use of that alone. And see here one more example with asterisk, that is all functions. Okay, next let me just move on to the module search part. See, while importing a module, Python looks at several places. So interpreter first looks for a built-in module. Then if built-in module is not found, Python looks into the list of dictionary defined in the sys.path. So that is, the search is in this order. Okay, so first it just looks for current directory, And next, if it is there or an environmental variable with a list directory, then it just goes to the installation dependent default directory. So let me just here we make use of our sys and we identify our path. Okay, so this is our path and we are able to identify what is the exact functionality, and all the packages inside it has been listing it out. We can also add and modify this list to add our own path also. And see here, dear friends, let me just move on to reloading a module. See, the Python interpreter imports a module only once during a session. So this makes things more efficient. Okay, for an example, see here, suppose we have the module name my module. Okay, and in that my module, we are having this code. So if I just want to make use of that module to be imported, and see, this code got executed. So we can see that our code got executed only once. This goes to say that our module was imported only once. Now, if our module changed during the course of program, we would have to reload it. So one way to do this is to restart the imprinter. So, but this does not help much. So Python provides a more efficient way of doing this. We can use the reload function inside the imp module to reload a module. So how we can just do it? So kindly have a look of it. See here, I have used the imp. Okay, so here it is the imp module to reload the function, and see here. So here it is reloaded. Okay, and on execute. And dear friends, see here, this is the main.py, and inside the main.py we are just going to give this lines of code, and we are just going to import it by the function import lib by using the function reload. And see here, let me just see the same thing by using an example. And here what we are just going to do, we on 3 times we want to just reload it, and with a delay time of 25 we have just made it to sleep, and then it is just once on executing thrice, at last it is just going to give it with a this is a test file. Let me execute it by program. See here, this one import time, we want to make use of the time module, and here from import lib we want to reload import the reload function. Okay, and before that we want to just see what is there in greet.py. Yeah, here we are having the greet.py, and inside that we are having the coding, that is welcome to Dr. Rajanta Devi's Python 60-60-60 challenge. So when on making this, on importing greet, it's just going to execute the first time. Let I just execute it. See here, dear friends. So it executed first. After delay of 15, it is just going to reload it. Here it's the second time, and I just want to get reloaded the third time to have the same greet from the greet.py. Yeah, here it is. Once after the third times of execution, we are just going to have this is the test file. Okay, so this is how you can just make use of that input. And the same thing you can also make use of it by using the import it directly from the Jupyter notebook also. But in before using the Jupyter notebook, you have to make use of this import underscore IPB to be included as a one among the library. Okay, now next let me just move on to the director built-in function. Dear friends, see, we can use the director dir function to find out names that are defined inside a module. when we use this functions with any object. So actually an object can be a sequence like a list or tuple or a set, a dictionary, or even can be class, function, modules, etc. So it returns properties, attributes, and methods. Let me just have it by using we have already defined a function add in the module exam, and that we had which is in the beginning. Okay, so let me just define it in our function and make use of it. And we can use the directory module in this example. See here, dear friends. So this is the example.py where we have used for addition of two numbers. Okay, so that directory we are making use of it. Okay, that is what. So here we are just making the path of every files and what are all the objects we have made use of it. And next, see here, dear friends, here we can see a sorted list of names along with add. See here, these are all sorted names. All other names that begins with an underscore or default Python attributes associated with the modules, and it is not user defined. Okay, fine. Let me just make use of this attribute that contains the name of the module. I just want to know what is that, and see, this is the name of the module. Example. All the names defined in our current namespace can be found out in our directory, which we can just retrieve it by using the dir function. So without any arguments, you can just have a use of that directory. Okay, let I just provide it by using this. See here, this is the exact arguments, so without any arguments, we can just see what are all the names that is defined in our current namespace. And you can also have use of what are all the functions that is under that module. And see here, which is this underscore, whatever be the thing that is comes under underscore or default Python attributes. Okay, apart from that, these are the exact function, that is cos h, a sin h, tan 2, or that is c is there. So many functions, log 10. So square root we have already seen, pi value we have already make use of execution. So these are all some of the exact functions that comes under math module. And defaultly there are some module list which are used, and you can also make use of the built-in functions by using help functions, and we can obtain a list of built-in modules available in Python. And on executing the live help, particularly onto that of modules, you can see all the built-in modules, and here are the some of the frequent one used as we have already discussed. One is operator, decimal, random, string, and math functionalities. Okay, and some of the built-in module exams, that is, see, actually there are many built-in modules in Python. Some of the common built-ins are this one, OS or sys, operator, string, decimal is there. And so when on using this OS module, actually using Python OS module, it is possible to automatically perform many operating system tasks. So the OS module in Python provides functions for creating or changing current working directory or removing a directory, that is the whole folder, and fetching its content or changing and identifying the current directory. So let me just explore it by the example. And see here, dear friends, if you are need to create the directory, you can just provide the name, or if it is already created, it would just shows an error that is already existing like that. So let me just see whether it is already exist or not. Yeah, it is already existing. So director name is already existing. So you can just make use of make one, and here. That is also, so the path also it's there. So I'm just going to give the new path, and again see already existing. So this is how, if you are just creating one which is already existing, so kindly just change some directory name or change the creation of that path also. Okay, next coming to the sys module. Okay, and see, the sys module provides functions and variables used to manipulate different parts of the Python runtime. Mainly sys.argv, which we just say argument. The function returns a list of commands line argument passed to a Python script. So the item at index 0 in this list is always the number of the script. At index 1 is the argument passed from the command line. And see here, dear friends, here when I'm just importing this sys, okay, importing this sys, we can just explore what is the exact system path. Yeah, here it is the system and systems path. Okay, okay, fine, dear friends. And here let me just make use of a function. See, this is, oh sorry, I just scrolled a lot. Okay, fine. Where I am, yeah, here. So see here, dear friends, you can just make use of some sys and providing some arguments, and you can just pass it as like a place value. Let me open that what is script.py. Okay, oh, here it is, the script.py, and here we are just going to give the exact value, so exact function which we need to be executed. That is, here there are two place value, welcome 1 and welcome 2, that is argument 0 and argument 1. And when coming to this argument 0 and 1, see here, if I just want to providing on running, okay, on running, if I just make use of this as a system path in my Anaconda prompt, and if I just provide this value, that is for the first place value, if I just give the Ajanta, second place value if I just give Python, yeah, where the exact place value it just gives, na? So there it would be replaced, that is the place value would be done. And some of more common that is useful sys commands here I have just provided. Kindly have a note of it. That is sys.exist, sys.maxsize, sys.path, and sys.versions, or some of the mainly used command. Okay, next let me just make use of the operator module. Okay, and see here, dear friends, operator module, where if I just want to make use of every operations, yeah, I'm just going to make use of this star, that is the asterisk function. And here what are all the functions I have just used is, I have given two values, that is with a variable of a and b. And first one, I'm just going to have the multiplication of the both a and b value, whereas it just going to return the product of the two values. And second one, it is a boolean returned value, where it is going to check whether a is greater than or b or not. And the next one, it is just going to return the modulus of that value a and b. And last one is just going to give a concatenation of two string values. Okay, let me just see here, dear friends. Yeah, it's that executed according to the code snippet. Okay, next coming with the using string module. Dear friends, this string module is a useful module for many purpose, and here we have just given you some simple functions which we just make use of the string module. And one is the thing we can make use of capital words, whichever we are just given something string, you want any capital words that is in uppercase, yeah, it is just going to return only the first letter to be the uppercase. Okay, and so that is what the capital words. And next one, ASCII words, yeah, something with A to Z as a small and A to Z as an uppercase. Okay, and let me execute it, dear friends. Okay, see here, hello world, the first letter alone, it's in uppercase. That is what the capital word. Okay, and next when coming to ASCII letters, yeah, A to Z small lowercase, A to Z capital case. And same, okay, let me just make use of some more with digits and some more with some punctuations also. Okay, dear friends, and next comes with decimal module. And see here, we are just going to import all the functions from the decimal modules. And where, see here, when on returning this C, returning in C, and this one prints the complete decimal value of C when you just give a function of decimal of C. Okay, so here there are two different functionality. If you are just going to give only the C, surely it just gives the total number of 15 to 70s of a decimal part, that is decimal numbers, and there next comes the originality evaluated value. See here, dear friends. So this is how the difference between the normal decimal evaluation and with the decimal keyword. Okay, next comes the random, and dear friends, see actually the random model is used to generate the random numbers, and it provides the two main built-in functions. One is with random and next one is random, that is between a range between the numbers. Okay, and let me just have an example between the both. One is random from within 0 to 20, and one random number with a choice from the list, and you can also make use of the uniformity, that is a float number where you just get between these two individual number. Okay, and you can also make use of the same thing with the simple, that is random dot random or random dot random, and within the range of 2 to 8. And here it's okay, dear friends. Next, let me just make a simple thing from example of mathematical module, and as we have already seen, you can use different built-in mathematical functions which is are listed here. The where ceiling, square root, exponential, floor, logarithmic, power of, sine, cos, tan. So there are so many built-in mathematical functions, and here some of the functions where it just returns the square root of, or square root of a number and factorial of a number, and here few built-in functions which we have already seen in the above one. Okay, with all the things. Okay, I just scroll it. And when I'm just providing this constant, kindly have a note of it. That is, when mathematical models provide two constants for mathematical operators, that is C, where pi it just gives the 3.14, and where for E, it just math of E it just returns the exponential as of 2.718. So here it is the exponential of very constant numbers. And next one, let me just make use of a statistical model. See, dear friends, actually the statistical model provides functions for mathematical statistics of numerical data, and the popular statistical functions which are defined in these modules are mean, median, mode, and standard deviations. And well, let me just going to make use of it, and let me explore the result. And see here, dear friends, so with this, in this list we need a mean, and we need a module of median value, mode, and standard deviation among this of age list. And for your information, dear friends, here I have just provided few hands-on kindly spend some time and make use of this hands-on where which is different with level 1, level 2 and level 3. And hope you have a good session on whole complete function modules, and let me just see it in next session. Thank you. Have a nice day.